Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. What do you say?
Hello.
Welcome. You go first, Sabs. Go first.
What's going on, guys? Hello. Jaybe and I are here today for some pop culture news, give you a break away from politics. That's what this show was about. So we have some interesting stories, I think, to talk about today.
All right. Welcome to the Sabby and Jaybe show on the Revolutionary Blackout Network. I am one of your hosts, Jaybe. We have Sabrina Salvati here and accounted for. Good to see all of you here. We are always live on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can go ahead and watch us there. Also, make sure to go to the Substack for Revolutionary Blackout Network so you're always informed of whenever we do go live. Just to let you guys know, just want to give a thank you and a shout out to all the patrons on Patreon as well as members and anybody that gives us any type of mutual aid through the GoFundMe as well. And if you would like to, you can also contribute to our graphics designer, Erin. She does an amazing job. You guys can go to Revolutionary Blackout on Venmo or Cash App $Mutual Aid Forever, because we know that Erin loves the kitties just like the rest of us do. And we like the puppies too. We do. We love the puppies. Now, just to let you guys know, if you guys would like to, you guys can see Sabby Sabs on our show later this evening at 8 p.m., right?
That's right.
All right. You can catch her on her channel at 8 p.m. I also put the link to her channel in the description as well as in the top of the chat, so you guys can go there. And if you guys would like to, you guys can also go to my channel as well. You guys can find me on Tuesdays at 2 on my channel. Just go into the description if you guys would like to get a link to my channel. Also, by the way, just letting you guys know, I have an amazing guest coming on next week on my show, so you guys will be able to be prepared for that. So I'll announce that a little bit later. Just going to do a quick hello to the chat. We do have a limited time that we're going to be on for tonight, but rest assured, it's going to be worth your while. Saying hello first to Miguel, saying peace. All right, good to see you. Terry Hinton's in the chat saying hello, JB and Sabby. Good to see you. All right. We have Steve Wolfbrand coming in. Hi, Terry and Miguel, giving some love to people in the chat. Marco's in the chat saying, good day, everyone. All right. We have Pirate Alex say, yay. Hi, everyone. Good to see you, Pirate Alex. CBC voter says, Herbie. Get it? Are you talking about Herbie Hancock?
Herbie Hancock. Herbie.
All right, we have Greg Bruce coming in. Good to see you, Greg. Always good to have you in. Graham Jones says, Wonder Twins powers activate. Yes. Don't get me started, Snaps. You know how goofy I get.
Remember
Tommy
Parker
P.
Lewis? Remember that? Sorry. Remember Parker Lewis Can't Lose?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, remember they put up the watches?
Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that show in so long. I remember there was a big guy named Kubiak. Was that his name?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, Sabby taking me back. Thanks to Tammy for the super sticker. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it a lot. All right. Buckeye fan says, shout out to the Montgomery, Alabama Riverboat Resistance. Your exemplary courage will never be forgotten. Absolutely. And don't any of y'all forget it. Don't y'all forget it. All right. Child of God says, read that title. And for a hot second, I thought it said DJ Academics calling out chat ninjas. Look, I wasn't gonna bring that up, but DJ Academics saying what he said about Erykah Badu. Maybe I should show that. Maybe I will.
I plead the
I'll
fifth.
look for it while we're talking. All right, Gamer for Life coming in. You know, good to see you going. Killier Grigors is up in the chat saying, he said, I had some fruit. I am a fruit. Anyway, Killier Grigor says, hi all. Sabby, don't cancel me. Don't cancel me. EMK says, yo, yo. All right, good to see you. And let's do, and Terry Hinton, thank you so much for another super sticker. Thank you so very much. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Michael Perez says, hi, love your work. Christopher Begley says, what's good, Jaybe and Sabby? Eric T! Mr. T, a pity a fool. Up in here.
Oh.
What?
Oh, dear.
What? What did I do? Oh.
I pity the fool.
Pity the fool. And then Roger says, I got my four-legged sidearm ready for this show. Okay. All right. So let's get started, everybody. All right. The Tory, good to see you. The Tory, you're going to love this. Girl, you're going to love this show. I know you are, girl. All right. So, Meg The Stallion. Everybody who knows who Meg The Stallion is. But when I heard Tory Lanez, I was like, who in the hell is Tory Lanez?
Same.
Did you know that he's a rapper?
Did not.
That tells you everything you need to know about Tory Lanez.
I don't know new rap. I listen to 90s, 80s, early 2000s rap. Like the new rappers, you know, I tried to listen to them at one point. My sister tried to get me to listen to them and I just couldn't get into it, you know. The lyrics just weren't as good.
Well, I mean, you ain't really wrong. So, I mean, is it really like it's more? I guess it's kind of subjective, but in the onset of capitalism, the quality of music overall has dropped, right? If we're talking about the music business itself and what's pushed out towards us, right? So that I'll say, yeah. So
these new songs are like 2 minutes long, man. There was a song called what's the one hotel motel Sugar Hill Gang. Mm-hmm. Sugar Hill Gang. I said a hip hop, a hippie to the hippie to the hip hip. The song's like 11 minutes long. Mm-hmm. The songs today are like 2 minutes long. I'm like, what was that?
Yeah. So the thing, and like for instance, they don't have those nice intros like Rick James had with Fire and Desire, you know. And he bring it in, you know. I used to love
even like Eminem and like Dr. Dre and like they had, you know, like the next episode they were like doom 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 do 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 la di da di da. It's the motherfucking G-O-double-G Snoop Dogg. They don't have anything like that.
Yep. So let me share this just to give us a background. Oh, I can hear myself. Okay. It says, what to know about the Meg The Stallion shooting case. So they're calling it the Meg The Stallion shooting case. So let me enlarge that just so everybody can see. It says in January, after a nearly 2-week-long trial, a Los Angeles jury found rapper Tory Lanez guilty of shooting rapper Meg The Stallion and the feat in the summer of 2020. Lanez was convicted of 3 felony charges: assault with a semi-automatic handgun, carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and discharging the firearm with gross negligence. Throughout the course of the trial and leading up to it, Lanez, a Canadian whose legal name is Daystar Peterson. Black people, we really need to start talking to each other about these names. Adamantly denied the allegations against him and pleaded not guilty. After his conviction, Lanez filed a motion arguing that he had been deprived of a fair trial and lobbied for a do-over, but that request was denied. He faced more than 20 years in prison and potential deportation, though prosecutors asked that he be sentenced to 13 years in prison. On Tuesday, following a 2-day sentencing hearing, Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Lanez addressed the court ahead of sentencing per TMZ. He referred to Megan as his friend and someone I care for dearly to this day, according to legal affairs reporter Megan Cuniff, who was in the courtroom. Says since the shooting, both Megan, and whose legal name is Megan Pete, and Lanez have shared allegations on social media, and misinformation about the case has spread widely. Let's run down how we got here in the first place. Sabs, any thoughts so far? I think you're muted.
Whoopsie. When I first heard about this story, I was just like, was this an accident? Did he, did his gun accidentally go off and it she was shot in the foot, or was this on purpose? Like, why did this happen? And I honestly didn't expect to hear much more from this story after that, because it kind of like it was big news and then it just went away. Mm-hmm. But apparently here we are now where he is being held accountable, apparently.
Yeah. It says in December of 2020, Megan accused Lanez of shooting her in the feet. In July of 2020, Megan was seen getting into a police car with bloody feet and was subsequently taken to the hospital. Reports initially suggested she sustained an injury from broken glass and had been arrested after a night of partying with friends. But shortly thereafter, it emerged that Lanez, who was also in the car, had been arrested for possession of an unregistered firearm. A few days later, Megan claimed in a since deleted Instagram post that she had suffered a gunshot wound to her feet as a result of a crime that was committed against me and done with the intention to physically harm me. At the time, she did not specify who shot her. During an Instagram Live in the next month, however, Megan named her alleged assailant, claiming it was Lanez. She did not initially tell police that she had been shot, explained that in the moment she hadn't trusted them to protect her. Why the F would I tell the police somebody got a gun in his car and this shot me? She said, so I can get shot, you can get shot, she can get shot, he can get shot. And
what was he doing with the unregistered gun, Jaybe?
That's the
it doesn't make him look good in the situation.
What was T.I. doing with the unregistered gun? I mean,
don't get me started. He wrote a whole song. T.I. wrote a whole song about why he had that gun. Dead serious. Dead serious. He said he had to protect himself because people were after him. I don't know.
Oh boy. Anywho, during the Instagram Live next month, however, Megan named her alleged assailant, claiming it was Lanez. It says in an Instagram Live, Lanez denied the allegations and cast doubt on whether Megan had ever been shot in the first place. He also suggested that if she had been shot, she couldn't have seen who was shooting if they were walking away from the car at the time she sustained her injuries. Lanez was officially charged on October 2020 with 1 count of assault with a semi-automatic firearm, 1 count of carrying an unregistered weapon. According to the charges, he, Megan, who was not explicitly named in the charges, and 2 other individuals were driving in the Hollywood Hills when an argument broke out. Eventually, the car stopped and Megan got out, which is when Lanez allegedly fired several shots at her feet.
Wasn't this over like a cheating incident?
Maybe, I don't know. It says Megan released text. She says Lanez sent her after the shooting. So this is going to get interesting. In February 2022, Megan posted then deleted images of text she claimed that Lanez had sent her after the day after shooting. They included one that appears to have been sent on the night of July 12th, which reads, "I genuinely want you to know I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. At the time of his arrest, Lanez reportedly called Megan's friend saying, 'What happened already. I can't take it back. I'm just telling y'all I'm sorry.'" So Meg, you're probably never going to talk to me again, but I genuinely want you to know I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart, and I was just too drunk. This shit should have never happened. Oops.
Well, that's coming from her friend.
That's coming from Tory Lanez, and yeah,
text messages are they come back to haunt you, JB.
yeah. Them text messages come back to haunt you. And he says, "I just feel horrible." That's the finished part of the text message. Lanez appeared to respond to Megan's post on Twitter, writing, "Good dick had me fucking two best friends, and I got caught. That's what I apologize for. It's sick how you spun it too." His attorney, Sean Hawley, claimed that it was Megan and her former friend and assistant, Kelsey Nicole Harris, who were fighting on the night of the shooting. Hawley's further suggested that Lanez fired the gun to protect Megan from Harris.
Oh, see the story. The plot thickens.
The plot thickens like a bowl of oatmeal. It says both Harris and Megan denied the version of events. So if both the women are denying it.
But I don't know. Women, don't fight over these guys, please. Don't. There's plenty of fish in the sea. Please don't fight over these guys. I want to read what Sean said. Sean said it was Meg's friend because Meg caught Tory effing her friend. They got into a fight and her friend shot at her all drunk.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Says so after Lanez sent this tweet, Megan again took to her Instagram stories, writing in part, "You kept putting the narrative out that me and my friend fell out about you, and that's not true. Why are you skipping over the shooting?" She continued. "You think it's okay to shoot me, then harass me online and make it like this was some weird cat fight when what is the actual F is wrong with you?" And so that's Tory Lanez tweet, basically saying that because he was with them both, that's why they got at each other and making it seem like that one woman shot the other woman.
And that's why he apologized, because he was messing with two friends.
Yeah. And Megan The Stallion basically is like, "No, it's actually because you shot me, and it's not over two women catfighting."
That's the thing about the text message, though. It's vague. You can relate it to different situations.
Mm-hmm. Says during a hearing in April 2022, judge ruled that Lanez violated his protective order against Megan by tweeting about her. Lanez was handcuffed in court and bail was increased to $350,000. The judge added a new condition to Lanez's release, that he was not to mention the complaining witness in this case in any social media. In October, Los Angeles judge put Lanez under house arrest after he violated the conditions of his bail, allegedly assaulting rapper August Alsina, the guy who slept with Will Smith's wife. Oh my God. Jada Pinkett Smith in Chicago. Deadline reported that Lanez did not face criminal charges over the incident. Oh, Megan said that Lanez told her dance beat before he started to shoot at her.
Do you think that happened, JB? Do you think he actually was dumb enough to say that and then do that in front of other people? It's not like she was alone.
Yeah, well, the thing is that her friend that was with her, she also is saying that, Lanez was the one that was doing the shooting.
I don't know. This is it. So they were at a club, right? Or outside?
Megan clarified that Lanez was standing over the window shooting, and she said she was afraid to move too quickly to get away. "I didn't know if he could shoot me and kill me." Describing the physical shock of being shot, she said, "The adrenaline pumping so hard, I'm not sure if he hit me. I felt it, but I didn't understand what was happening. So I looked down at my feet. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really bleeding.
So aren't there cameras outside? This is why I'm asking, because usually there are cameras outside of retail stores, outside of clubs, outside of businesses. There are street cameras. You mean to tell me no camera caught this?
That's a good question. You know, and the thing is that she actually, I can't play it because it's CBS, but she actually did an interview with Gayle King about it on CBS.
Yeah. Notori said the shooting happened when they left her house. But right, aren't there like cameras somewhere? And I ask this because you see this all the time on local news where someone disappears and they're able to pull cameras from an area that they either lived in or they went through, and they're like, this is when they were last seen by security footage outside in the street. So I'm kind of surprised there's no camera footage anywhere.
Yeah, it is kind of surprising. So I think that's the problem. There is a lawyer. Well, let me get to this, because there's some points that I wanted to go over. Yeah, let me do this because there's a lawyer that reacted to. She shared her thoughts basically on the trial and everything that happened. She does a really good job,
Oh, I've
and
seen her.
yeah, she's really good. She talked about she did one video about music and capitalism. She did a great job on that one. So yeah, she's really brilliant. So she's going to go over the charges, and then after that, she's going to go over the misinformation and the facts. So she's going to go over it. She's a lawyer, so let's hear what she has to say.
Charges. So that way everyone is on the same page what's going on. So this case, a lot of people have, I know colloquially referenced the case as the Megan The Stallion's case. This is not. My girl is not on trial. She's not on trial. It's funny. It's something that my grandma always says whenever you question her too much. And she's always like, am I on trial? She's not on trial. The case name is the People versus Daystar Peterson, because that is his name. That is Tory Lanez's government name. And that is who's on trial. And I think that's important to remember because the defense thinks otherwise. These are the technical counts. And of course, because I would assume none of us have the California Penal Code memorized, we're going to go through the actual charges. So there are currently 3 charges. A third was recently added. The first being is any person who commits an assault upon the person of another with a semi-automatic firearm shall be punished by imprisonment in the state prison for 3, 6, or 9 years. The second charge is a person is guilty of carrying a concealed firearm when the person does any of the following. These are all various assault and firearm possession charges. And the following is carries concealed within any vehicle that is under the person's control or direction any pistol, revolver, or other firearm capable of being concealed upon the person. And then the last charge, which was recently added, and I will get into my suggestion, or I would say like my thoughts as to why they recently added this based on where the testimony was going, which this is basically gross negligence of discharging a firearm. So except as otherwise authorized by law, any person who willfully discharges a firearm in a grossly negligent manner, which could result in injury or death to a person, is guilty of a public offense and shall be punished by imprisonment in a county jail not exceeding 1 year. So altogether, Tory Lanez is facing 22 years in prison, a little bit over for all 3 charges. One of the charges, again, is simply possession of a firearm, and we'll get into why that one is the easiest charge to prove. So in referring back to who this case is actually about and who is actually standing trial, this is a quote from Megan's testimony in which she stated, "I don't understand why that matters. I've been turned into some kind of villain and he a victim," Megan said as Lanez looked on from the defense table in downtown Los Angeles courtroom. "This has messed up my whole life." She says, people call Lanez's trial the Megan The Stallion trial, but I am not on trial. I think that's very much important to keep in mind throughout the entirety of the situation. All right, so what is the burden of proof in criminal law? Since we usually cover civil, we'll do a little criminal refresher here. So the burden of proof is on the prosecution and the prosecution alone. Technically, the defense does not even have to take the stand. They would lose, so that generally never happens, but it is on the prosecution and the district attorney to prove beyond a reasonable doubt, which the reasonable doubt is the required burden of proof to affirm a conviction in a criminal case. Essentially, the prosecution has to prove the defendant is guilty beyond all reasonable doubt, which means the prosecution must convince the jury that there is no other reasonable explanation that can come from the evidence presented at trial. So, if that is the prosecution's sole job to prove there are no other explanations, the defense has one job, simply to sow doubt and simply to sow the seed of, well, yeah, maybe something happened, but this is a different version of the truth. So that is essentially what defense attorneys, their job is to do.
So my question is, because this is kind of tough because we live in a white supremacist system, right? And someone like, a black man facing something like this can also be thrown under the bus because of this system. However, Tory Lanez is a celebrity, so there's kind of a there's kind of an issue where you can either go the route of Tory Lanez they would be more lenient on him because of his celebrity status, or they'd be more harsher in trying to make an example of him because of his celebrity status.
Right.
So the thing is it's like I don't know exactly where to gauge, because he could have got like 20 years.
Right, but the thing is, again, like, how are they going to prove it, as she's saying, beyond a reasonable doubt? How are they going to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt? Because, again, like we said, there's no security footage. I'm hearing from people in the chat saying like they were all apparently, I guess, leaving Kylie Jenner's house, which I could have. They were all coming from Kylie Jenner's house. Can't tell me there weren't other home cameras that may have caught something that was not released. Exactly. So that's another thing. I feel like they're not telling the full story or the full scope for us to understand everything, that all the events that transpired. And it could just be, we don't know. It could just be that she's protecting someone else. And it might be easier to point the finger at him. We don't know. Again, how are they going to prove this beyond a reasonable doubt when we basically just have he said, she said?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to.
And stay away from the Kardashians. Like, it just good news to not follow.
Look at what happened to all the men in the Kardashian family. One became drunk, one started going back to drugs, another one went crazy and lost his billionaire status. It's just like, dear God. Anywho, just stay away from them. I'm sorry, but they're kind of like an arrow tree frog. They look good on the outside, but once you taste it, you get poison.
Oh no.
That girl is poison. Sorry. Anyway.
Let's get into the misinformation versus the facts. And I've been following 3 to 4 different reporters. These are the 2 reporters. I think they are very credible, and then also have, I would say, like, excellent reporting skills. I've been cross-referencing a lot of them because, again, some of these outlets, toothless, couthless, and ruthless. So the first is Megan Cunniff. She is the senior reporter for the Long Crime News Network. She was shot. The defense attorney is not disputing this. Obviously, the district attorney is putting this forward. So specifically, what was stated in the opening statement by the defense attorney, and a little bit background by Law and Crime. While tabloid-style coverage of the saga has questioned whether Megan was truly shot, the defense attorney, which McDason, I believe is how you say his name. Apologize if that's incorrect. I don't practice that. Monday, there's no doubt she was. So again, the defense attorney acknowledges that Megan was shot. Okay. Ultimately, the most important thing is, according to the defense attorney, this is what he stated, is who got out of the car, how the fight started, and what shot the gun. Well, clearly it was a human being. Okay. And according to the defense attorney, and what really happened, McDason says, stems from a jealous eruption driven by Megan during Jenner's party. Megan insisted on leaving with my client. And I'm pointing that out because we're going to get into the defense tactics in the end. It is very interesting, and I'll use that word kindly, to see how the defense is setting up character evidence against the victim and how character evidence is being used throughout this trial. All right. So number 2, misinformation, we're just going to get out in the beginning so that way people can just relax themselves. Yes, there was gun residue. So first, when this came out, both the defense attorney as well as the naysayers who have a legal degrees by osmosis on the internet decided to say there was no gun residue on Tory Lanez. That is actually very false. This is from Megan Cunniff from Law and Crime Network, which she, again, is sitting in the courtroom. We heard from a city of Los Angeles crime analyst who works with LAPD and analyzed gunshot residue. She said it was on Tory and Kelsey, but not Tory's driver. Okay, continuing on. And
if there's gunshot residue on him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't buy it that there's no camera footage anywhere. What celebrity, especially someone as famous as Kylie Jenner, what celebrity doesn't have some type of security cameras outside their house?
That's a good question too.
And have the lawyers asked for that information?
That's also a good question too. Yeah. So as far as whether Tory Lanez is guilty, there are 2 opposite sides regarding this. We could go longer, but and I'll share this let me share this into the chat so you guys can have that as well. Just to go over the rest of her video, because we can't play the entire thing, of course, because we're limited for time. But they were building a case, Yeah, it says, hell, they usually have a full camera crew. Yeah.
That's a good point, Zach. They're usually always on camera.
Yeah.
So what are they hiding?
Yeah.
I mean, what's on there that maybe they don't want? I just don't buy it that there's no footage anywhere. I don't buy it.
Yeah. That's a good question, man. Also, let me go here. This is out of People magazine. So this says, tormented Megan Thee Stallion shared emotional statement in court ahead of Tory Lanez's 10-year prison sentencing. She says that she struggles at being present after everything that had occurred. I cannot bring myself to being in the same room with Tory. Megan wrote in the statement read by Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney Kathy Ta. I've been tormented and terrorized. And she claims he paid bloggers to disseminate false information. He treated my trauma like a joke when I could have been dead. He blamed the system. He blamed the press. And as of late, he used his childhood trauma to justify his actions. She added, slowly but surely, I'm healing, but it's never been the same. His crime warrants the full weight of the law. So she's sticking to her story from what it sounds like. Yeah. And the one thing I noticed about this entire thing is that you have a divide where there's a lot of people, there's some people who are saying that the fact that not a lot of people, there are some people on one side that believe Tory Lanez. Some Black people, especially Black women, are claiming misogyny and misogynoir by not believing someone like Meg The Stallion. And from what I've observed is that a lot of them are pointing to whenever a famous Black man does something wrong, they want to stop the presses and say, no, he's innocent. They're just trying to get at him because he's a Black man. And a lot of people are pointing to people like R. Kelly and people like Bill Cosby and saying,
Right.
well, no, because, they just want to bring a Black man down, when in reality, could they just have been guilty? And so,
well, there was evidence with R. Kelly. So
yeah,
there's that.
Where's the evidence with with this one, as far as like cameras? Because there's a lot of he said, she said. And so there's a lot of people who are going one side or the other. So
you're right. You're right. Because at the end of the day, whether we can believe what we want to believe in reference to what happened. But the thing is like, you have to prove that he did it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I've seen so many like court like cases. And the thing is like, let's say, okay, he's there. They said he had a legal gun. So he had a gun, etc. And was he the only one there with a gun? Mm-hmm. Probably not.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to be careful. That's the thing. Like, you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Just because he had a firearm on him that night, one, doesn't mean that he shot her in the foot. And two, it also doesn't mean he was the only person at the party that had a firearm. I failed to believe that he was probably the only one.
Yeah. The question is, did he shoot her? Because the thing is that, he's being on trial by the state, for,
right.
Possession and, gross negligence. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep,
so
yep.
It's, it's like, and the thing is like, even still, was he, the one who, oh gosh, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Was he the one who actually shot her versus her friend? But her friend is saying, yeah, he did it.
But her friend's going to take up for her friend.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. For the most part, like the girls aren't going to turn on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that too. The reality is, the only people that know exactly what happened were the people who were there. And I don't know. We may never know. But I would ask for that camera footage.
Yeah. Eric says ballistics evidence may have proven that was his gun.
May have. But again, like they still haven't confirmed it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. And so, gosh.
Even if it was their gun, let me tell you guys a story really quick. Back in the day, one of my family members dated a guy who was a cop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this guy went to prison. He's out of prison now. But let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
He was arrested because one of his family members took his gun and committed a crime with it. Mm-hmm. Now, he says he didn't commit that crime, but the court didn't care. The court's claim was that it was your firearm and you're a police officer and nobody is supposed to have access to your firearm. He went to jail for 8 years.
Yeah.
And he's a cop. He went to jail for 8 years.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, again, like just because it's even if they say it's his gun, that doesn't mean he was the one who did it.
Yeah. But his actions, though, like for instance, it says Megan testified that Lanez offered her $1 million not to tell anyone he shot her. Says asked if she was nervous after taking the stand, Megan told the court, "I cannot believe I have to come here and do this." Megan reiterated her version of the event, saying that she, Lanez, his bodyguard, and Harris were in the car after leaving a party at Kylie Jenner's house when an argument broke out. In her testimony, Megan claimed that Lanez was angry that she had asked him to leave the party and along the way told her to stop lying to Harris about their relationship. The Times reported that the rapper and Lanez were friends who occasionally had sexual relationship, which Megan and Harris found out about at the time of the argument. While on the stand, Megan again explained her decision not to immediately report the incident to police. At the time, we're at the height of police brutality, she explained. I felt like if I had just said this man shot me, they might shoot first and then ask questions later. She added that she didn't feel safe with the police officers. Megan told the court that she hesitated to speak about the shooting for fear that it might hurt her career. This whole situation in the industry is like a big boys club, she said. Like I'm telling on one of y'all's friends, now you're all going to hate me.
So what? So one may understand the police brutality issue, but again, this is someone who is a celebrity. But two, she actually said she didn't want to hurt her career.
That's well, because the thing is, a lot of times when women speak out, I mean, it does hurt their careers, you know, in many different ways. So I kind of get that.
But she's speaking out right now. So what's the difference?
I mean, from what it sounds like, is she kind of really had no choice because, I mean, she could have perjured herself, you know.
But how did this whole story end up in court anyway? Like, how did they get there? Somebody reported something.
Well, I mean, she was bleeding, so she had to call the, 911 because, she had to, get taken to the hospital. So, I mean, police had to show up, and so she could have just hit it, she could have kept it hidden, but at the same time, police do what they do and, firearms are recovered and things like that. So, and also on top of that, she could have said, "Oh, I got cut." But then once the people are working on her and looking at it, they can tell if it's a cut or a bullet wound.
True. But I guess what I'm saying is, how did it get to the point where she said it was him? I don't know. Like, it just, I think it's just, it's weird to me. Like I've seen different versions of the story. Like one minute it's like they did know, the friend did know. The next version it's like the friend didn't know, or the friend said she didn't know. Then the friend came back and said she did know. So I'm just like, what?
Yeah. I don't know, man. But he got 10 years. I don't know. He's gonna get time served. So that's what's going on right now.
Wow.
Has, and then the thing is that what didn't help in the court of public opinion is the way he was behaving outside of it. And we just don't have as much time as I would like to do more of a deep dive. So, but yeah. Samantha says the hospital called the police. They're required to. Then police investigated. Yeah. Yep.
Well, we'll have to see. This is crazy, man.
Yeah. But just to let everybody know, if you guys have not, please make sure to like the stream. As well as if you guys have not already, you guys can also contribute to our fundraising for our graphics designer, Aaron. You guys can go to Revolutionary Blackout or $ Mutual Aid Forever as well. I'm going to go to chat really quick just before we go to our next.
The super chats?
Yeah. Roger Meadows says Sabby don't like 2-minute brothers.
You know what? Oh man.
Tiberius says, Sabby, Jaybe, y'all rock. Black folk, it's time to assemble. Turn up the Avengers theme. Let's go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh my goodness. Roger says, speaking of rappers who can't rap, I would say that they traded lyrics for looks. I can look at Meg and Nicki all day as long as they're on mute. Oh my gosh. Roger also says, that much time for injury that didn't lead to death. I mean, also a point.
I don't know, man. This whole thing to me is just weird. Like 10 years?
It's weird. It's like you get to a point where you're like, who do you believe? At the same time, it's like I want to lean to believing Megan, but at the same time, I also don't like seeing people that are unjustly, accused. It's just, gosh, this is why we need a whole brand new justice system, because this justice system's so messed up.
I didn't know you can get 10 years for a foot.
Yeah, but what if it impedes on her mobility? You know what I mean?
It's a good point. It's just I feel like people with harsher crimes have gotten less time. But
well, yeah, that is true. But that's really a bane of the system, to be honest with you. So moving on, because we don't have that much time left, but what else are we talking about? So we already talked about Tory Lanez and Megan The Stallion case. Now I'm going to be talking about what happened in Montgomery, Alabama, and why there are folding chairs. I should have brought my folding chair in here, but I didn't have time. But I want to share this really quick first, because this one is deep, and then we will get more into the parodies to explain exactly what happened. So just to let everybody know, in Montgomery, Alabama, there was a story that had happened. See, what had happened was there was a gentleman that is a Sabby, don't laugh. You're going to make me laugh.
I'm sorry.
There was a no, go ahead and laugh. So there was a gentleman that was black, that he was a security guard. And so he went to a group of white people who had a pontoon boat that was on the riverfront. And he asked them to move it so that the riverboat can dock. The riverboat, I think, was called the Harriet Tubman. And so for them to dock, to get all the people off the boat. When he asked them to move their pontoon boat, they suddenly started beating on the black man. As soon as they started beating on the black man saw what was about to go down, threw his hat in the air, and that was basically the bat signal for a bunch of black people to descend upon, because there was like 6 on one black man, 6 white dudes on one black man, and then all these black people descended upon and started basically handing out a can of whoop ass on the rest of the white people that were beating on the black man. So that's what happened.
And I just want to tell people, we can't the reason why we're not showing that video is because the other day I had already scooped it out on YouTube, because a lot of people were going to talk about it, and I already saw multiple channels it was flagged. Yeah, that discussion was flagged because of the YouTube violence policy. And there's also blood in the video too. That's another thing they mentioned in the YouTube guidelines, is about blood and violence and stuff. So that's why we're not showing that video, just FYI. But I think all of you guys have probably seen it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it yet, you're living under a rock. But let's share this really quick, because a lot of people have been giving their opinions on, what has been going on. So this one says a message for the Montgomery brawl. Let's take a look.
Yo, while we excited about the Montgomery brawl, let me pause for the cause and school all of y'all. You see, we couldn't be there when Trayvon Martin was unalived, because had we been there, perhaps he would have survived. We couldn't be there when George Floyd went down, because had we been there, perhaps he'd still be around. See, we couldn't be there for our dear sweet sister Sandra Bland, who unfortunately fell into the hands of a racist man. We couldn't be there for Emmett Till, who never saw it coming. So when Unc was being attacked, that's why we came a running. See, we were brawling for Breonna Taylor and we were throwing down for Mike Brown. We couldn't be there for Ahmaud Arbery. That's why we had to show up full force in Montgomery. Now, I know things got ugly and people got hurt, but this was really for those 4 girls who were bombed at that church. Addie Mae Collins and Denise McNair, Carol Robertson and Cynthia Wesley. That was so unfair. See, it's no mystery. This country has a history of black people being bullied with no consequences or penalties. Have you heard about James Byrd? They drug him until his head was dismembered. Or what about Medgar Evers, shot in his driveway? Remember? Y'all heard of Lemuel Penn? He was an educator in D.C. In 1964, he was killed by Klansmen simply for a DWB. Y'all heard of Lewis Allen? He saw a black man get unalived. So they decided to take his life simply so the brother wouldn't testify. Y'all heard of Virgil Lamar Ware? Probably not. He was only 13 years old riding his bicycle when that young brother was fatally shot. See, what happened in Montgomery was really for the strange fruit found hanging from the poplar trees. Those beaten, bruised, battered black bodies swinging in the southern breeze. So yeah, we swung our chairs and threw our hats in the air. Like a graduation, we commenced to the degree of waging warfare. So hear ye, let the record show that we're not going to take this kind of racial abuse anymore. So if we find ourselves coming under attack, just know we swinging chairs and we bound to fight back. Why were we excited about the Montgomery brawl? Because in the past, we couldn't be there for them. But in the present, we can be there for y'all.
That was bass, JB.
Yeah.
That was bass. Do we have the one of the chair? You need the one with the chair talking?
Oh, I got it for you.
Okay.
I got
Never
it.
mind then.
So they interviewed this guy, put up an interview with a chair, and this one sent me. I was dead.
I love it.
So let's go.
My name is Point of View, and I'm joined today with the chair from what many are calling the Montgomery Riverfront Brawl. Let's take a look. This is you? It is. How are you today, DeMonte? I'm doing all right. I'm just happy to be on the right side of history, man. Care to tell us what happened in Montgomery? Man, I was smoking a blunt, thinking about the pussy I was gonna get later. Had a date with this bad bitch from IKEA. Thick ass 3-seat sofa from the clearance rack. Not 2, 3. 3 seats, nigga. That's a thick bitch. Thick ass bitch. So I'm minding my business, thinking about her big burly ass, when this black security guard politely asked these white people to move their punk ass boat so that the riverboat could dock and the patrons could safely get off. What happened next? The white people ain't take too kindly to the request and started jumping the black security guard. Next thing I see is black Aquaman swimming across the river to help the security guard. And that's when you jumped in. That's when I whispered to one of the niggas next to me and told him pick me up. Why'd you do it? You know, a lot of people look at me and assume I'm white, when in actuality, I'm just white passing, and I just saw an opportunity to use my privilege as a super duper light-skinned nigga from Alabama. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for your service, DeMonte. The pleasure is all mine, man. If you'll excuse me, I gotta go bust open a lamp.
What cracks me up about that one is when the reporter's like, "Why'd you do it?"
Yo. White passing. That was hilarious.
Isn't the chair hat on the do-rag too, JB?
He had on black Air Forces. I was just like, no, this dude didn't. Oh man. And then there was another one. There was so many. Oh my God. I have more than even. Okay. There's one I'm gonna give you guys the link to. I cannot play it for you because the theme of Good Times is playing in the background.
Oh, that one is good.
That one's hilarious. But yo, you guys gonna have to watch that after you guys finish with us. But that one with the Good Times theme song, good God. Good.
That was hilarious. In the chair at the end in the picture.
Yep. And then okay, so we got that one. Let me share this one. Oh yeah, this is a good one too. So you guys know the Black National Anthem, right? At least the Black people should know the Black National Anthem.
Lift every voice and sing.
Yep. Till earth and heaven ring. All right, so let's go. You guys, can you see this?
I didn't see this one.
Let's take a look, Sabs. You're gonna die laughing. All right, let's go.
Lift every chair and swing till their ears start to ring. Throw up your hat and we will come whip their ass. Yes, sir. We'll jump off the river boat and see if that bitch can float. Lift every chair, Scuba Gooden Jr.'s on your way. Lift every
Yo,
They're wrong for this.
And then so there was an update. So from what happened after the brawl. So I'm gonna let this white lady explain it because this is crazy. This is how you know there were some racist mofos.
Oh yeah, I heard that there was racial epithets that were used too.
All right, let's go.
You know, that racist family in Montgomery where they got their ass whooped. They went to this hospital, right? And this nurse, who happens to be Black, and apparently there was a lot of Black medical staff, this family, seeing it, they, I guess, were scared for their life still, and basically said, oh, there's nothing but N-words at this hospital. And they called the police. They called the police on the medical staff at the hospital trying to treat them. Police show up and they say, look, either you get treated or you can just leave or whatever. And they left. So any of you fuckers out there who feel bad for this poor family, they'd rather leave the hospital than get treated by Black people. They're racist.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Ouch.
And the crazy part is I was trying to find a picture, but there's a photo of one of the dudes. He was wearing Crocs. His ass got beat so bad that his Crocs got busted from the front, and he was wearing them like leg warmers. He got his ass handed to him like nobody's business.
RBN does not condone violence.
The views of our Revolutionary Blackout Network do not reflect the views of some Black people in the community.
We have to say that. No, it's crazy because Jaybe, it just goes to show you, you know, like the teenager, I believe he was a teenager who
16.
swam across the water. He's like, I'm on my way.
Yeah. And the thing is that a lot of people were talking about like, oh my God, what if this was on the other, what if this was, flipped and reversed? And I put out a TikTok, I was like, it has been flipped and reversed. The thing is that if you think about Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Ocoee, Florida, all these racial massacres that have happened, you know why Black people were so joyful over this? It's the fact that we actually came together to resist, white supremacy, to be honest with you.
Oh.
And so, because who started the fight? It wasn't the Black security guard. It was a group of white guys that started wailing on him for him doing his job. Ultimately, when somebody is a worker and you start doing things against them and they have done nothing wrong to you, that is shame on you for attacking a worker like that, for just doing their job.
And all they had to do was move their boat.
All they had to do was comply.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't. And so guess what? The bat signal went out. And
But this is where people get me when they say, this is what people get me when they say, oh, no, don't talk about race. Leave race out of the conversation. No, this was racial. 100% racial.
Completely. Point blank period.
Like, some things are just racial. Some people are just racist.
Yep. And then a lot of people were like, oh, well, there's a white woman. She got beaten. The thing is that she was wailing on black people. She was doing one of the aggressors wailing on black people. So the thing is, she got hit with a chair too.
Mm-hmm.
She told her to sit down. So, yeah. Let me do this tip from Roger, and then we can head on out because I know you have a hard stop. So, Jaybe, do this. All right. And all right. So thanks to Roger for this tip on Rockfin. Roger says, I thought that brother was about to break out in a dance routine when he threw his hat up in the air. I'm like, my dude, you left your face wide open and he took advantage of it. Wait a minute. They threw the white boys into the river. I ain't see that. Brother should have Tory Lanez his ass. Oh my God.
Wow. Wow,
Roger. But yeah, so what you got going on this evening, Sabs?
Just covering 4 stories tonight. And then calling afterwards, and that's pretty much about it.
All right. Next week, I'm going to have on Margaret Kimberly on to talk about what's going on in Africa. This is going to be an interesting show, so be sure to tune in to my channel on Tuesday at 2 p.m. And then I'll be doing news stories on RBN on the Jaybe show this Sunday, so be sure to tune in for that. Any last words, Sabs? Got to head out.
That is all.
All right. Cheers for life. Wu-Tang forever. Bye-bye. All right. Rock out.